right, we will start recording. So you can see the little green and yellow and red line working. All right. Okay, so we can open up on La Lima is the basic resources. I've already uploaded it. So you guys can download those for now, spreadsheet resources. So we're going to start with ticket sales, but you can just open up a spreadsheet. So Google Sheets or Excel if you'd like, whichever one. Really, they're basically the same. There are differences in terms of where you click and which button you press, but for the most part, all the equations are the same. The layout of how to operate it is very similar, with probably a few nuances, but that's probably a bit more advanced than what we will get into today. If you don't have a computer device to do, please partner up with someone, and so you guys can go over it. At least looking over someone's shoulder, at least that will help. You can probably even do it on your phone, although that's probably inconvenient. Okay, so this is a spreadsheet. Does anyone have Google Sheets? We agreed upon, right? So we'll use Google Sheets. If anyone's using Excel, I can swap over and show the same thing in Excel. All right, so this is a spreadsheet, right? It's like Battleship, right? There's A through wherever, and there's 1 through whatever, right? And then each cell is this little box and is labeled B2, C1, D5, right? That is the name of that cell. So the beauty of Excel is that you're able to reference a cell later, right? So not too bad, right? And then on the bottom are worksheets. So you can have separate worksheets for different things, and you can reference them later as well as a cell. So clicking down here, you can add another sheet, right? So you got 2 sheets. So let's just put just some names in here, right? And then over here, it's gone, right? Because it's a separate worksheet, a separate area to work on. You can go down here and you can rename it, celebrity names or something. So you can have this, right? Have I lost anyone so far? Okay. Oh, yeah. Is that better? You guys want some backlights? No. No, not that one. That one? No? Yes, maybe? No? We'll do the side lights. That's kind of nice atmosphere. All right. Well, I apologize. I'm not as familiar with this, but let's go with. All right. I'm making it a little bigger. How about that? Does that help? Okay. So we got cells. We got worksheets. What's next? We're going to go over referencing, right? So if you want to reference a cell, you just go into another cell and you press the equal sign, and then you can type in what cell you want to reference. So who should we pick, Keanu or Cameron? Cameron. So you can either click A2 or you can type in A2, right? It gives you the same result. Lost anyone so far? All right, now let's just say we like Cameron Diaz a lot. I really should change this. Oh, so it's referenced here, right, to this A2. So I can change this to her actual name, and it updates also in C2 and C3, right? So you can see how in the future, like in future calculations, by changing one cell, you can change the calculations of other cells. So it kind of goes forward. Then if you really like Cameron Diaz, so this is helpful as well. Down in this bottom right-hand corner is a little box. If you click that box and drag it, it copies that equation to the next cell. But so you can see here, it copied the equation, but it moved it over, right? So if I drag it down, it's going to copy one down as well. So it's going to go down to say A3, right? So we copied it over and moved it. If we wanted it to stay the same, you go over here and you press F4. So F4 does a little dollar sign. You can also put dollar signs in front of it, and it's going to permanently say that's the one I want to do, right? So if I take Cameron Diaz with just normal A2, copy it over, nothing. $sign A, $sign 2, it stays. Kind of cool, right? Saves a lot of time. Stories of people that will manually input that equation 1,500 times, just to get the same data when you can just drag and drop. I mean, I think there's a faster way in terms of something called form fill on Excel. Flash fill here, but I haven't quite used that. But there are things you can do that make it even faster than that. Let's see. Let's go with here A1. So if we drag that down, it goes to Keanu, Cameron, and down. But then if we saved it, it goes across. Not too bad, right? So that's cell referencing. All right. Lost anyone? All right. So let's just say we wanted to keep the row the same. Let's add a few more names. So Keanu, Cameron, any ideas? Sandra Bullock. Oh. Cardi B. I don't know. Emma Watson. Okay. So let's do that again. All right. So you can just select what you want, and we can delete it. Start back over. So we have a bunch of names over here. And if we had just gone and selected Keanu, but for whatever reason, let's just say we wanted to copy this a list essentially. This would actually work. So just copying down would copy it, right? But I didn't set this up right. So the other thing you can do is you can press F4 more than once, and it locks the particular thing. So A1 will just keep it in the A column in the first cell. So you can go A, B1, C1, right? So now we're copying this one, so there's no kind of recurring thing. And if we copy it down, it's all Keanu Reeves. All right, so let's just say we want Keanu all the way down. That's how we could do it easily. So again, A $1 keeps it in the first cell in A column, right? So that row across. So if you copy it across, it stays there. It references the first row, and then changes based upon where you copy it. Excuse me. Okay. How are we doing so far? All right, so let's do some numbers and stuff. So 1, 2, 3, right? This happens a lot. You want to put a bunch of numbers down there, and however, if you just select 3 and copy it down, what do you think is going to happen? You're just going to get a bunch of 3s, right? So, but that's not what you want. You wanted it to go to like 10. So you copy 2 and 3, and it predicts and says, oh, you're counting up by 1, right? And then you can drag it down and get to whatever you want. So now we got 12. Not 2. See? Magic. Yes, Brittany.
Absolute reference on a Mac.
Absolute reference on a Mac. So, Excel reference Mac. It's probably Command T, or yeah. Google is your friend. Does it? Well, that's. Really? Well, then the $sign will work. Sorry about that. Maybe Google isn't friendly today. All right, so we got some numbers, right? All right, so the other thing you do is you can reference something and you can add, right? Add 5. right? And so then we can take this equation, and let's say we want to add 5 to all these numbers. We can just drag this down. Now we have an equation that just adds 5 to each one of these cells, right? You can do the same, equals, reference a cell, and you can multiply by 5. And you can drag it down, right? You can do multiples. You can do, I want to do this C1 times A1 divided by B, right? So star asterisk is multiply, divide is that, and plus and minus. And dragging it down, you get a bunch of different answers, right? Do this in your calculator. I mean, if I asked you to do this, I mean, that would take you a little while. If I just gave you the raw numbers. In Excel, calculate those numbers rather quickly. Okay, so let's say that you want to just add a row, or row or column or whatever. Super simple in that, you guys know what this symbol means? Sigma? Yeah, it's auto sum in Excel and Google Sheets. It's it's adding. So it's a sum of a through n, or x equals 0 to I of, whatever. It doesn't matter. But basically, it just adds everything. So it just thinks about it and says, yeah, let's add everything in column A, because we normally put totals at the bottom. Oh, no, this one's not as good, but just do that. So A1 through A12, and you got the total. All right, so let's do that again here. So you can also type equals. I do this. I feel like it's simpler for me just to type it. But you go sum, right? You want to add stuff with the sum. Yeah. And then you put B1, and then to make it a range, so if you want to do a range, you do the colon, and then you go to the end, B12. And don't forget the closing parentheses. And that gives you your sum. And again, like what we did before, you could also just sum parentheses and then just drag it to what you want. And then close the parentheses. So that gives you the same thing with the range in terms of C1 through C11. I'm not sure exactly how to get this bigger for you guys. I thought maybe this would work, but no. So sum C1 through C11. Right? Not too bad. How are you guys doing so far? So. All right, what do we need to go back to? Sure. So whatever cell you want to multiply, or you just want to multiply two numbers, so it's equals, it's an equation you want to do. You want this cell, like y, equals to something, right? Some product of variables. And so you pick what you want. So you can pick two numbers, you can pick two cells.
So the way you did column C, you did A. So how did you do column C?
Okay, yeah, so column C was A1 times 5. So equals, and then you can click A1, and then you press the multiply sign, and then 5. Or you can type A1, and then multiply by 5. Okay. All right, before we get into a bit more advanced math about the sum, we're not going too crazy. Let's go insert. So you can insert rows, insert columns. So you click on a row, click on column row 1, right click it, and you can choose to insert one above or below. We kind of failed to put some titles, right? So this is just data right now, right? We want to apply some information to it, context. So let's just say these are, I don't know, months for whatever reason, and this is add, and this is multiply, and this is divide, right? So we're testing a few different things. So you can put this stuff in here. Now what's kind of cool is you can do, when you start dealing with text, you can do things called like upper and lower. So you press upper, so equals uppercase, right? So, and then you just select something, and now it turns C1, which was upper C1, is now multiply. and it just made it all uppercase, right? You could do the same thing with lower, or and then I think there's a couple other weird ones that you probably will never use. How are we doing so far? Good, decent. All right. I know this isn't the most fun, but it's very useful, and you will get some practice. We'll go over it in a couple extra days. We'll see how far we get today. All right, so we got some upper, we got some lower, not too bad. We know how to do sums, which aren't too crazy. And then sometimes you want to sum like our sums, you know? So you could do this two ways, right? So this is our total row, right? We kind of created this as a total row. So we can insert a column to the left and say, hey, this is our total, right? And then you want this to be like the master total of like all of it. So you can press equals and sum, and then you can sum this stuff, right? Just drag across B1 to D1, B14 to D14. Close those parentheses and you get the sum. Now what's kind of cool is you can also just go equals sum. You can drag it across this entire block like this. It's going to add everything in here. That came up with a different number, didn't it? So, for whatever reason, see, there's a problem in my equation right here. So, this is good. Good learning point, right? I screwed up this equation. I only added these 11 cells. So what I can do is, I think I can do it on here. Nope, I can't do that on here. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, so in Excel, I believe you can, let's do this. So equals sum. So this is, I guess, a slight benefit, right? We messed this up. So in here, you can, in Excel, you can just drag this down, right? You drag it down, and then now you include it, and it gives you a different answer, right? In Google Sheets, right, we have to actually change this and go from D12 to D13 and just change it in the text. Not too bad. Okay, now above sum, right? Sum is probably the most common you'll do. You're gonna add stuff, right? A budget. You're gonna add pluses and minuses and get it together to create a budget. You're gonna add expense sheets, accounting, financials, all that stuff. You're more than likely gonna add. And then the other thing is maybe multiply with things like taxes or discount rates and a bit more advanced equations. And we're not going to go into that. That's not the nature of it in terms of, you know, figuring out the depreciation rate of an asset in this class. There's an equation, you can search for it and you fill it in. So we'll learn how to use some equations, and the idea is that maybe you can learn how to do it later. But the other ones is perhaps average, other statistical measures, the average, the median, the mode. You guys know those? The median is the middle. The mean is the average, and the mode. Yeah. There's a really good Planet Money podcast that just came out called The Modal American. I thought that was pretty interesting. So that, you know, people like to say the average American. I know this is probably beyond this class, but we can tangent for a minute. They like to say the average American, and it's really who. If we take all what takes us Americans and average it together, it doesn't quite make sense. So the modal is more like if we were to bucketize all Americans into buckets, which bucket was the most full? And so they figured, I think it was like a 40-year-old white guy living in the suburbs.
40-year-old?
Yeah, late 30s, early 40s, with a family and married. So, which is kind of what we probably thought, and but it was actual truth. All right, average. So let's do average. Right, you can just type in we're just going to label it so we know that what we're dealing with in the future. Anyone want to guess what the equation name is?
AVG.
AVG probably works. I think in Excel maybe it doesn't. Let's see if it works here. Yeah, rank.average. Yeah, so I think it's just average. You just type average. Right? The average is the average, and it's not the mean. So the average of this set is 6.5. And instead of typing it in, because we want the average of these as well, we can just take this and bring it across, and we got the average for all of these. These are the shortcuts to really learn. You'll wow people by just being able to save time and doing stuff like that. Okay, now let's say that's this column B. We know we counted from 1 to 12, right? But let's say that for whatever reason, I'm just going to delete this right now. Shit. They all cell reference. Okay, we'll just ignore it for now. So if we wanted to figure out how many items we had in a set, right, is something called count. So this is count, and you count how many there are. And since we counted 1 to 12 already, this would probably be 12, right? But in some data sets, you don't have that. Maybe you don't have a column with the number of people. Google Sheets doesn't quite show it, but if you're in here, Excel has a kind of nice thing over here, is by just selecting some data, you get the average, the count, and the sum just by selecting some stuff, which is very helpful. I know that's very hard to read, but if you have Excel, you can take a look. It saves a bit of time if you just want to get a general idea without adding something to the spreadsheet. Cool. Let's see. I wanted to go over that. Sum and max. Okay. All right. So let's say in a data set that you wanted to know which was the largest, and we're probably pretty certain we know which one's the largest here. So let's go the smallest and the largest. Sometimes this is useful. Not always, but sometimes. Anyone want to take a guess? No? I'll just show you guys. All right, so the smallest is the minimum. So it's min, M-I-N. Not to be confused with the student min. Min, and then you just select whatever you want, and it'll tell you what is the smallest in the data set. You can select whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just to show you this is the equation. Yes? Yeah, so I just select it. You can type it in, equals min, parentheses, what cells you want to find out what's the minimum. So the minimum is 1. We know it's 1, right? We can see it, right? It's not useful in like this small data set, but you can see that maybe in larger ones that without, you maybe want to understand it a bit more. And then the largest is kind of simple as well, is not the min, the max. So you just type max and pick whatever area and close the parentheses. Min, max, count, average, sum. Those are the most commonly used equations you're going to do in Excel. Right? Now there's a fun one that a lot of people don't know about. I'm going to teach you this today. All right, I'm going to delete that one. No, let's delete that too. All right, so that one's gone, right? So maybe we just want to know how many people maybe didn't buy something or didn't fill out their phone number in a shopping selection, or something like that, right? So it is count A. Count A is the count of values that don't exist. So in this, what should our answer be? 1. We have 1 cell. Oh, no data in this column. Oh, shit. Count A. Count A filled. Okay, wait. That is not what I predicted. Well, Google, find Excel equation Count null. Count blank. There we go. So see? Google's my friend today. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna set up count blank. Count A is, I guess, count if it's full. Or has a value in it. All right. Who's familiar with if-then statements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got a few. All right, so it's kind of the basics of programming and kind of really any scary word algorithm, right? If something happens, then do this. That's all it is, right? If this, then this. So we could, and it's pretty simple. It's if, and then so this one isn't. I'm really more familiar with this, but okay. So we put the little question mark. It says if logical expression, value in true, value in false, separated by commas, right? If logical expression. Why would they put foo in this example? Of no one's gonna. That's a computer science term. Okay, so anyone have a favorite number in this data set? 21. Is 21 in here? There's no 21 in this data set. 17. Okay, so if all right, let's just do this. This is probably a bit easier to maybe grasp. So if C14 is greater than 200, then what do we want? You know, we could put, we can make this like true. So true or false. So 1 and 0 is binary for true, false. I'll go back to it in just a second. So it is false. It is not larger than 200. We're aware of that. So let's do that again. So equals if parentheses if this value is greater than 100, and then instead of 0, 1, because that's not very helpful to most people, right? Just a 0 or 1. I mean, it could be, but you can write in a word, right? Larger than 100, or and then comma, or not large enough. So I don't know, right? So is this number larger than 100? Here. This number is larger than 100. So we would expect that this, which is the value when it's true, right, would be what's outputted into this cell. Okay. So this is cool because you can do all your spreadsheet work, right, on like one worksheet, and then you can reference it later. So I'm going to do this in the second sheet as well.
Excuse me, quick question. With that, you don't put any spaces between commas and all that stuff.
I think you don't have to. Let's see. It still works without commas. But you need to do quotations if you want a word, right? So if we created another spreadsheet, right? Maybe this is our dashboard or the thing we're going to present with the infographics and stuff. We could say that so we can go if, and then we talked about referencing worksheets and cells. But this is if you want to do a different worksheet. The easiest way, honestly, is just to click the worksheet. It saves this equation here. And select whatever you want, right? So now you see the formula has changed from just C14 to sheet 2, and then the cell 14, right? And then so this is going to reference across worksheets and get you something something true. So larger than 100. Oh shoot, we didn't finish the equation. C14 greater than 100. Large small. All right, and press enter. And then on this sheet over here, only thing it says is large, right? And then I could go back over here and just change this to 99. I know that was a little quick, but right now it should be small. It auto updates, right? So whatever you're messing around with in the worksheet, you can have something else that just kind of says, hey, this is the important information we want to gather from this. Very helpful. Okay, so I think that allows us to get into the solution, the ticket sales. So if you download ticketsales.xls from resources, and you can open it. If you don't have it in Excel, I believe you can open it through Google Sheets. Let's see, file, import. I think you got to import it. Upload. Create new spreadsheet. Anyone confused about that? So if you have the spreadsheet program on your desktop, you can, come on, you can just open it, right? Or if you need to, you can import it into Google Sheets. Does everyone have it open? Okay. All right, so this is, let's read the program. I'm sorry, this was in the book, so if you have the book, you might read it better. The local travel agency, Campus Travel, has been losing sales. The presence of online ticketing sites have lured many students away. However, given the complexity of making international travel, Campus Travel could have been thriving and profitable if concentrated excuse me, in certain areas. You've been asked by the Director of Sales and Marketing to help with analyzing prior sales data in order to design better marketing strategies. See, some of you guys are marketing using Excel to figure it out because you just have a little bit of data, you want to figure it out. Looking at these data, you realize that it's nearly impossible to perform a detailed analysis of ticket sales given that the data are not summarized or organized in a useful way. It contains data for 3 months. Excuse me. You got to find this information. All right. Apologize. Okay, so decent amount of data, right? More than we were playing with earlier. I don't know why they do this. This is dumb. No one wants to scroll down a page to see this data, right? It's dumb. That's right. So first thing we do, we take this data that's down here, and we are going to Control X or cut, right? You guys know these? You guys should know these. Cut it, and we're going to put it up here, right? Now it's in the first page. First thing you're going to look at, right? Oh, we got this data. I can look down, I can scroll it, but that's the stuff I want to know. Cool, right? Okay. When does class end? 5:30 or 5:45? Sweet. We got 30 more minutes. Excited. Okay. Couple formatting things. Let's go over some format stuff for this data. All right. You can't quite tell what year this is, can you? Default. So between column A and B is this little like weird left right thingy, arrow. Double click and it spaces it out. You can do the same. And then you can do this, you can copy multiple and then double click. All right? You get some crappy formatted thing, you do this, it's already pretty. Right? Who would be interested in the future? I could go over it, like how to print nicely. Like make it printed pretty. Like fitting on one sheet or with titles and stuff like that. Okay, all right. Remind me once we get closer to the third class if I don't go over it. Because there's like function stuff I have to go over first, you know. All right, so we got this stuff, right? So we got different dates, we got salespeople, we got destinations, we got tickets sold. Not too bad, right? Okay, so we want to know the total tickets sold. So what would we put in this equation to get total tickets sold? Sum of what column? D2? Yeah. 81. Right? I think, let's see. Someone said I could just click this, and that's possible. Yeah, so look at that. So that means, sorry, I went over that fast. Someone suggested you could just click column D, which is very true. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to with the fact that you have the word at the very top, but I think they often just skip the first if they see that there's words on the top and then data afterwards. So you can just select column D. Yes. Yeah, it goes to infinity. It's entire D column. So the beauty of it is that in the future, if we have more data, it updates, right? So you can keep updating it with more data and save all your equations and they still work. You know, pretty fantastic. Okay, I'm going to take that back. So we're still operating this so you guys know it. All right, so total tickets sold, 81. All right, what do we do for most tickets sold? The max. Max of the same thing. So we learned that we could just do column D, D to D, or just clicking column D. I'm going to put this over here so it's a bit closer. And I want to bigger for you guys. Okay, least tickets sold. What's the function for this one? Man, great. You can just scroll down and do that as well. And then for this one, average. Okay, so you got average number of tickets sold per day per person is per day things get sold. Not too bad, right? Okay. Now, what if you really want to drill down into this data? Like how much Lisa sold? Or like John? Or, you know, how many people went to Japan? You could. So we did go over that. Here's something much better. All right, select your data. And you go over here to this little funnel thingy. Create a filter. And guess what? It adds this little cool symbol at the top. And this is beautiful. Watch. I just want Heather. I want to know what Heather did. And press OK. Now, it deleted some rows that we can't see, so the total tickets sold. But we could put it like down here or something, and it would show up. Right? So, Heather didn't sell much, right? So clear it, select all. We're back to everyone. We can do the same thing with destination. Clear, and then pick maybe who went to the Middle East, or how many tickets went to the Middle East. Did I lose anyone? Do you want me to go back to filtering?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you select your data, all of your data, right? And then you click this filter button. You just click the button, right? It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on. Okay? Cool? All right. So, so we answered this question, all right? We did this stuff. Now, as a marketing person, does that really help you? This total tickets sold, average tickets, stuff like that. What if I'm telling you I want to know who I should promote and who I should fire? What other information would you want to know? You have a bunch of people. You have how many tickets they sold, when they sold it. Kevin, was it?
Yeah. So, yes, if sell and fire, then you put if north to 19 is less than 2, then fire, then comma if it's greater than 2, fire.
Okay, but what if I mean that's a way to do it, right? But you might find that you're going to get a bunch more selected, right? So that's a good point. Let's go over that before, and we'll go in a bit more depth into the data. Okay, so select tickets, and then I haven't done this on here, so you might give me a second to check it out. All right, so format, conditional formatting. So we want to go to here, format rules. We want to, if the cells are less than, what did you say, 2? You said 2. What do we want to do with it? Let's make them red. Okay, so select in your data, format, conditional formatting, goes over here, and then you click add a rule. So format cells, if less than 2, we want to make it red. And we select it, and why did I make it all green? Okay. Trash this. Okay, sorry. We gotta trash the green one. So now we know all the ones that are less than 2. So Heather's hit, Andrew's hit, Bob's hit, Vivian's hit, John's hit, Andrew's hit. So I don't know if you have anyone left. So you just fired everybody. Good choice. Yeah, so you want to know maybe by individual how often they sold? Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Total. Oh, yeah, so that's a good filter, right? I didn't even think of showing you guys that. So order and group by a certain individual or place. So clicking this and then sorting A to Z. Grouped all the sales by Andrew and Bob and Heather and John all together. And then you can reverse it, Z to A, if you're so interested. You can go over here, go A to Z, all right, group by destination. And then so that allows you to just kind of do a cursory glance and figure this stuff out. I'm really surprised that Google doesn't have like the summary statistics down at the bottom. Oh wait, maybe they do. Look at that. They do have it. That's pretty nice. Okay, so down here, sum of 10. Go into Egypt. That doesn't really help us in our situation, right? We're getting pieces of the data, but and we could brute force through this. There's only 6 people, right? Figure out how many people went, how many Bob sold, how many did Andrew sell. If it was me, what I want to know is how many hours did I pay Heather, right? What did I pay Heather, right? Maybe I am paying Heather $8 an hour, but I pay Bob 20, right? Maybe there's a difference, you know. Maybe Heather worked 5 hours, you know, over 2 months, and Bob worked 300, right? So I spent more money on Bob than Heather, and Heather's giving me a better return on investment, right? So you'd want to know hours worked. That would be me, hours worked, and I'd want to know dollars per hour, their wage. Now, another thing, as a businessman, that you'd want to know, business person, is what is the revenue per ticket? What is your average revenue per ticket? How much are you making? Right? Is there a threshold that we now have? So if we were saying that we make $200 per ticket, now we have a frame of reference to say if this person made over or under our revenue. Is this person costing us more money or making us money? Right? So this gives us the threshold of what we want, and I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to get into pivot tables. Anyone afraid of pivot tables? I was afraid of pivot tables. Only like 2 years ago, too. I was afraid of them, but they're amazing in so many ways. Okay, so guess what you do? You just select your data like normal, and you go over here to insert, and you click. Shoot, where is? Oh, it's right here. There we go. Data, pivot table. Okay. Select your data, pivot table, data, pivot table. All right, you're gonna get something. In Excel, let's go over there. Select your data, and you would go insert and then pivot table over here. Or I personally like Excel a bit better, but we'll do Google Sheets since that's what I agreed to, right? Okay. Looks scary. Okay, what are the things we wanted to know? We need to know how many tickets were sold by person, right? So do you want people on the top or people on the left? People on the left. Okay. Either one's fine. I mean, just how you order the data. So you go over here to add and click salesperson. Wow, look at that. Andrew, Bob, Heather, John, Lisa, Vivian. Now we know how many people we got. All right. So columns. I had trouble with this earlier, so I'm going to refrain from doing it. If you do it in Excel, it makes it very simple. Mine might look a little different than yours, but you would go, so salesperson in a row, you just drag and drop it. And then tickets sold, you want to send tickets sold to values, and you're going to get the total here. And then you can go date sold. This is where Google Sheets and Excel differ, right? Excel thinks it's like, oh, you don't want to know each date. Like, we're going to help summarize it by month, right? That's nice and pretty, right? Shows how many per month. That's pretty nice to know, right? In Google Sheets, if you go over here to columns and do date sold, you're going to get every date, which is not very nice. So I'll show you how to get around that as well. I'm not sure about, I got 15 minutes. We can figure it out. But values. So values is the data in the cells, right? So you match up the column to the row. And the value you want is the ticket sold, right? Boom. Sum of tickets sold. So check this out. If I double click 11 for Bob, it shows me Bob's tickets. Right? I basically just got a report of somebody by using this, right? And look, it's even nice and pretty. Like, you could be like, oh, print, here you go. This is what you've done so far. Okay, so filters. Filters is nice because you could say a good one for this would maybe put in the destination. So let's say we wanted to just know how many by person, right? Before, on the last slide, we would have to kind of manually calculate it and go by each person. And this one, we can just select, oh, I want to know how many people to Hungary and France, and went to Europe. How many people went to Europe, right? And now I know how many tickets were sold per person that went to Europe over 3 months. I know spreadsheets are So alluring and exciting. Okay, so let's go back to our original question. What was our original question? Who do we fire? Okay, so let's go hourly wage. Just shoot out some numbers and I'll put them down. 2.
5. 1. 7. 70.
Okay. All right, hourly wage. Now we know how much they make, right? And then hours worked. I'm just going to go 20, 40, 50, 25, 10, and 8, and 80. Okay, hourly wage, hours worked. We want to know those factors. Okay, so what would this give us? So we know hours wage, hours worked, and then what was the other number we wanted to know? Yeah, so our revenue per ticket maybe. We'll just put $200. All right, that one's not too. Oh, did I do that? Oh no, that's on the second one. All right, so you can format things as well. So you can click it and you can go up here and click the dollar sign. The two most common are dollar sign and percent, and then it formats it like a dollar. Kind of cool. Okay, so we know that this is all dollars as well, right? We are low paying marketing agency. I mean, is this what they pay you on campus here? Okay, hourly wage. So we would want to know total cost for the employee. Just type total employee cost. And then to find out their cost over this 3-month period, we'd multiply their hourly wage times their hours worked. And then we just drag that equation down. Okay? All right, so revenue brought in, right? That's what we're really trying to figure out. So I'm going to do something. Let's see, can we name it? And all right, so I don't want to deal with the dollar signs, right? There's a kind of a cooler way to do it. So right click, define named range, and add the range. And name it revenue. Okay. Got illusion. So what this allows us to do is we can go equals instead of like clicking down in this cell, figuring out which one of the was it F4 button. I gotta press something else, but Command T or whatever it may be. We just named it revenue, so we can go revenue times the tickets, right? And then we drag it down. Now we know the revenue brought in. And then what do we want to know now? Whether they're positive or negative. So employee benefit. It's probably a better term for that, but you go revenue brought in minus the cost, right? Or is profit per employee, right? Break it down. We know this is negative, but we know maybe we want to color it and say is less than or equal to 0. And we do want to make that thing red, right? So who do we want to fire? We want to fire perhaps Vivian, right? Now who should maybe get a raise? This guy? Sorry, that's kind of messing up. So Lisa brought in the most. All right. So let's see if we gave her a raise, what, how much would it really affect us? And changing her from giving her a $7 to $10, $3 an hour raise only affected the bottom line by $100. $30. Barely cost anything. Right? Now you have a valuable employee that maybe is actually going to give you more. Right? Kind of fun and interesting way to do this. Let's see. Okay, so we went over that. We went over another way to do things to make it prettier. You can select your data and format. So this one has alternating colors. So you can go make it like that. It just makes it a little prettier. You can change these things up, colors and stuff. Might be easier to do. In Excel is a bit easier because it you go format as table, and then you just select what you want. A bit faster. Not too bad, right? All right, any questions so far? Have I tapped you guys out? Okay. We'll consider that for today. Let's see. So in the book is chapter 2. I think you guys could do this. So for next week, Thursday, take a stab at this, right? See if you could do it yourself. I believe for the most part, we went over everything to do this. So it's a lot of adding, a lot of inserting, and summing. Summing. So it's not too bad. There's a categorization thing that probably makes it better, and then you can make it look pretty however you want. But if you take a few minutes to try to work at that, it's in the Excel resources or spreadsheet resources on Lima. Take a stab at it so that next week we can go into kind of a mirror of what your spreadsheet assignment will be, so that you guys will be successful for that. All right.